What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update to one of my favourite ritual decks in the form of Drytrons. Now before we dive headfirst into the profile and before you switch off, I have made sure that this is not just a vanity ruler turbo build. It does focus around the new cards that we received for the deck a lot more in Infinite Forbidden, and it does kind of go back to the old school way of how the deck used to be able to be run. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. I'm going to take you through the profile, show you what we've got, explain why we've got it, and then I'll talk you through the alternate cards that you can utilize at the end of the profile that can kind of help you take it from a go second deck to a go first deck, or kind of mix around with it as you see fit. So you start off with the Drytron monsters, going with your Zeta. Now all of the Drytrons have pretty much the similar effect that they cannot be normal summoned or set, and they must be special summoned via the effect of a Drytron card. They then have the ability to tribute another Drytron monster or a ritual monster from your hand or field to special summon this card from the hand or grave in defense. That's pretty much the standard card effect that all of the Drytron monsters will have. They will then have additional effects depending on which one they are. So for Zeta, it allows you, when it is special summoned, to add a ritual spell from the deck to the hand, but you cannot special summon monsters except monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set the turn you activate this effect. So basically it means that you can't really be summoning or special summoning something anything else out that isn't really a Drytron. So you can't special summon down a Bestial, you can't special summon down a Nibiru, anything else like that. So keep that in mind. Then of course we've got the Alpha, so you've got the Ritual Spell Search off of the back of the Zeta, you've got the Ritual Monster off the back of the Alpha, so the exact same kind of effects that it can tribute on the field to special summon itself back from the grave or from the hand, and then that will allow you to get your access to a Ritual Monster. And then we've got Gamma. So Gamma's effect is actually one that lets you revive an additional Drytron from the graveyard, which is really kind of important. So once you've got your Alpha or you've got your Zeta in there, it then allows you to use Gamma to bring it back, and that gives you access to your rank 1. And the theme of the Drytron deck is it allows you to ritual summon using attack stats rather than levels, which is why obviously all of these are little mini boss monsters in the form of 2k. And when I say using attack stats, it's only for machine monsters. Then we've got two of the brand new Drytron New 2. So this one again can't be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by a card effect. If a Drytron card is on the field, so Drytron card, which is really important because that does include your field spell as well, you get to special summon this card from the hand or graveyard, but you banish it when it leaves the field. Now obviously it won't get banished if you use it as overlay material because they do not get banished when they leave the field, because technically the overlay material does not leave the field. Nice little loophole if you are new to XYZs and banish cards like that. It's a little bit different with Dimension Shifter, as Dimension Shifter just banishes everything. It doesn't say it has to go from field to grave, so that's why there's that little loophole in it. If this is special summoned, you get to add a Drytron monster from the deck to the hand, except itself. So you now have even more consistency to get access to your Alphas, to your Zetas, Gammas, whatever else you might be missing. You can only use each effect once per turn, and the only difference with this card is you cannot ritual summon monsters the turn you activate either of this card's effects, except machines. So that means it now stops you going down the Idayten route, which is basically a way of being able to loop back your ritual spell card, and it means you're never really going to summon down your Benten, but it's one of the ones that if you don't use his effects, you still want to have that fallback of Natasha, which is what I've personally got in this build, but you can sub that out, as Natasha is probably going to be more of a go second card than a go fast card until anyway. You're now playing the 1 beta. Now the reason you're playing the 1 beta is because off of the back of New 2 and of course off of the back of your brand new Draconics, this one is going to allow you to be banishing Drytrons from the graveyard. So the beta lets you put them back into the graveyard, which is really important. And then of course we've got the Atlas, which is a draw option. This does clash with Pot of Prosperity, but I feel that Pot of Prosperity is going to be more consistent, but it is one of them ones that if you're activating Pot of Prosperity, you're going to be using it to get to your other starters. You're going to be using it as a you need to use it run it kind of option, rather than having to summon out your Atlas, as all of these will have to use their effects in order to be able to be summoned. So something to keep in mind. We're also playing the one Yourplaymat Alpha. Now this is basically just another form of an extender, because the idea is it's always treated as a Yourplaymat or a Drytron card, and it cannot be normal summoned or set, and it must be special summoned via card effect. If you control Yourplaymat or a Drytron monster except itself, you get to special summon it from the hand, and then you can add a Yourplaymat or a Drytron spell or trap from the deck to the hand. So again, this searches out your monsters, this searches out your spells and traps. You're getting all the consistency you could need. For your main ritual boss monsters, you've got the old school Draconoids, and then of course you've got the new school, or the newer, Meteonis Draconoids. So this one you can ritual summon this card with Meteonis Drytron. Other Drytron monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Twice per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you get to banish Drytron monsters, minimum 1, from your graveyard whose total attack equals or exceeds the original attack of the monster that your opponent has activated. You negate that activation, and if you do, you destroy it. If this Ritual Summon card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you get to special summon one Ritual monster with 4,000 attack from your hand or deck, and it's treated as a Ritual Summon, so that's how you can kind of downgrade from that to that. And then for the non-Drytron monsters, we are playing 2 Cyber Angel Ben 10. 99.999% of the time you'll be using this as tribute fodder, because then it lets you get to a fairy, which can be your starter or another one of your starters in the deck in the form of Diviner of the Herald. And now, obviously, this card is being normal summoned. You're not going to be special summoning it because you won't be able to special summon it with all of the other Drytron monsters. But the idea is that when you normal this, you have an option of going second by sending Elder Entity Ints, or of course you can send a Herald of the Arc Light from the extra deck, and that will then give you access to a ritual monster or a ritual spell, whichever one you might be needing. Now, in place of Vanity's Fiend, Vanity's Ruler, Vanity's Pain in the Arse, I've decided to still main deck the Natasha. Now, personally, this is more so of a personal choice because this deck, every time I've played it, Natasha has been an absolute lifesaver. It is such a great card for going second, constantly being able to steal your opponent's monsters, use them as link material to move even higher, and then proceed into an OTK. Now, it's a little bit more old school of how this deck used to be played. It has kind of evolved a little bit, that technically you don't need to use Natasha, but the idea is I didn't want this just to be a, okay, cool, I'm going first, I've put my monsters on the board, I haven't used my normal summon, I'm going to tribute 2 off, and I'm going to go into a Vanities, because that's just a little bit boring. So I kind of wanted to go more of a Natasha, because then I've got that balance of, if I go first, I have that ability to do the secret village lock, and if I go second, I've got the ability of using the Natasha, still gain life points and push in for the game. Moving on to the spells, we are playing triple Drytron Nova. This is one of them ones alongside with the ritual spell that desperately needs a reprint. Heck, the whole entire deck could do with a nice little reprint, whether it be in OTSs or whether it just be in a reprint set, would be really kind of cool. But this one lets you special a Drytron from the deck, but you destroy it during the end phase. You can only activate 1 Drytron Nova per turn, but you cannot special monsters except monsters that cannot be normal summoned a set the turn you activate this effect. The idea is this is just another way of being able to get access to your Zetas, your Alphas, and everything else in between, because obviously they won't trigger their effects if they are not special summoned via Drytron effects. So it's very important that they need to be able to tribute it, but the idea is you're going to get that material on the board, you're going to use it as overlay material, you're going to use it as ritual fodder, and then get to go everywhere you need to. For the other Drytron cards, we are playing the 1 Drytron Fafnir. So when it is activated, you get to add a Drytron spell or trap from the deck to the hand. Hello Nova. Except itself, it does have a nice little level modulation on your opponent's board, but more times than not, because of the kind of format we're in, level modulation isn't that big of a deal, because more times it's either going to be used as fusion material or link material than anything else. We've then got the 1 Meteorist Drytron, and then of course more ways of being able to get to your consistent factors. You are playing 3 Cyber Emergencies, as this lets you add a light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, so all of your Drytrons, basically. And then the last cards we are playing is 1 Call by the Grave, the 1 Foolish Berry, 3 Pot of Prosperity. Like I said, this does clash a little bit with the Atlas, so it might be something you might want to consider either taking the Atlas out, and then I'd put into new 2 up to 3. But honestly, I still like the option of Pot of Prosperity, because there are those times when you might not have the most favourable hands, and you might need to be digging for a Protector, for an Extender, or even a Starter. Then, of course, you've got the 1 Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So this is all part of the combo where you basically end your board with... Just going to jump ahead to it now. Ib the World Chalice. And the reason you end with this is because it has all of its own built-in protection. So as long as it is linked, it can't be destroyed by card effect or by battle. And that's really going to be able to cause your opponent a lot of issues when they are locked under Spellcasters, or not being able to use any of their power spells, which is really, really important. The only downside is that this kind of combo and this kind of play is only a go first option. It's not really that ideal going second unless you have broken your opponent's entire board, which basically means you go Zeus, clear off the board, and then you combo. And the way you can get into your Secret Village is because you have so many ways to search out your own field spell in the form of the Drytron Fafnir. You have the ability of using your Ancient Fairy Dragon to gain you life points and then clear off the field spells to then get you into the Secret Village. Then for the final cards, we've got the 1 for 1. Apologies for the different colour sleeves. These are actually in my main new Bell deck right now, which is what I'm currently using for events at the weekend, or by the time this video goes out the past weekend. Hopefully when the format shifts or the ban list changes, this will all change up a little bit. And then the other option I went down with, now these are the 6 flex spots that you can change around with your entire deck depending on where you're going, what the environment's like, and everything else in between. But because my environment right now, a lot of people are still main decking Drolls and there are the odd D-shifters running around, you have to be very, very careful, especially with a deck like the Drytrons. So you want to be playing Crossout Designator, and then the main 2 targets to completely kill this deck, like this deck can play for Imperms, it can play for Ashes, but the 2 that just stop it dead as well as quite a few other decks as well, is 2 Droll, and Lockbird, and 1 D Shifter. So as the idea is, these are the most dangerous cards to face this deck. So if you are going to face it, these are the cards you're going to want to be looking at. And unlike some kind of scenarios and some kind of formats and some kind of decks, some of them can actually play through these. So Yugioh actually has ways to play around Droll, they can play around Shifter and everything else in between, but you do need to be very, very careful. Now, obviously, there is risk and reward by playing the 1 Shifter, because if you see it, you're going to cry a little inside because you won't be able to use it as a cross-out target, which is why I'm saying these 6 slots are very flexible, and it really comes down to personal environment and personal preference. I built this to take it to my local environment. That's where I'm going to want to try it out next week and to kind of adapt it a little bit more, and that's what these 6 slots are always going to be bouncing around and being flexible. But I thought I'd show you that you've got this area here that you can play around with, you can change it, you can be your board breakers, they could be droplets. I just kind of felt that at the end of the day, if someone drops a Droll and Lockbird on me, I'm probably going to lose the next turn. If they drop a D-Shift on me, I'm probably going to lose the next turn. It's going to be very tricky for me to actually build a defensive board in that particular type of scenario, unless you're just going to go into overlay a Fuko and then hope that they're on Tempai and that they can't out it. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, of course, we are playing 2 of the Drytron Mu Beta Fafnir. Absolutely love this card. It was an amazing addition once we got it in Levo way back when. You've then got the 1 Fuko, so this is obviously your defensive rank 1 that you're going to be able to hold your own out against, and then just rank it up into a Downard, into a Zeus to kind of clear your opponent's entire board. You've got the 2 targets that you're going to be sending off of your Diviner of the Herald, and then of course all of yours are level 1, so you're going to be wanting to utilise the Relinquish Anima, as well as working your way up into an IP Masquerena, SP Little Knight, Dynamondo, and then of course the Ib the World Chalice. Now obviously the idea is at the end of the combo, end of the play, you're going to want to be ending on IP Masquerena, or at the very least Ib pointing to your big 5,000 boss monster in the form of the Draconis, because in doing so, once you've got your secret village locked down, it's very difficult for your opponent to have to deal with that, because they need to be able to get past this in order to get rid of that, which means it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, so they have to bounce it or get rid of it in one way or another. And then when they're trying to do something like that, you've got your Draconoids, which is going to be able to protect it twice per turn, not to mention anything else you might be able to add to the board, like an IP into an SP, so you're basically protecting this, or like your overall lock of the secret village, under an SP, IP into SP banish, which will get rid of that spellcaster that they're trying to put on the board so that they can use spells. And then of course you've got your Draconoids to back you up with additional protection as well. Because I'm still using Natasha, I'm still working with the Nightmare Unicorn into access code, because the idea is that you're just going to be able to steal one of your opponent's monsters, gain life, link off your Natasha, go into Unicorn, discard a card, spin a card, and then bring the Natasha back, stealing one of your opponent's monsters, gain life points off of Natasha, link it with Unicorn, go into access code. Access code talker then has the ability to be banishing different attributes from the graveyard to non-target destroy cards your opponent controls, and then of course you can use Natasha one more time as long as you have Ben 10s in the graveyard to do so, and that will then allow you to bring back Natasha, gain life points, and steal one of your opponent's monsters, hopefully leading you with an empty board that you're just going to swing into for an entire game. And the last card we're playing is the Ancient Fairy Dragon. Now the idea is that you're going to use this to be synchroed off of the back of your Diviner of the Herald, because Diviner of Herald become a level 6 as a tuner, and then of course any of your level 1s can then make you your Ancient Fairy Dragon. You use Ancient Fairy Dragon's effect, destroy the field spells, gain 1,000 life points, and ideally search you out Secret Village, and that's where your spellcaster is going to come in the form of the Ib, the World Chalice Priestess, as that is the only one that you are currently playing. So that is it for the entire profile and the extra deck. I hope this is giving you an idea. Like I said, this is just something that I've dusted off a little bit. I wanted to kind of give it a go, get it ready for my local environment, and I'm just kind of hoping that the ban list is going to change this. This might be one that gets adapted and just gets left on the cutting room floor if the ban list changes in this video, and you might not actually never see this video, but you'll see an update of this video. If you do see this particular video, I feel that the only thing that would really happen on a ban list is you just have less of a worry about D-Shifter, and then that's when you can kind of adapt the deck a little bit more, and that's when you're kind of probably going to be working more towards a Vanity's Lock, or just a board breaking hand trap version of the deck as well. Anyway, I hope this has given you a couple of ideas for your own builds. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.